So I finally got a Canadian frame all drawn up and nested together for the CNC table over there. Here's a frame right here, working on getting it all prepped up. Before on the Canadians, I've just been cutting every single piece out, piece by piece by piece. But on this frame, I'm gonna use pickled and oiled 3/16 steel. So it should look a lot better, grind easier, and weld better. But I don't want any waste. So went ahead and decided to nest them all together. Of course, I make all these pieces in-house. Table over there. So I got the program all loaded up, brand new cold rolled sheet metal loaded up, and we're gonna start cutting this thing out. So I'll see you guys back in like probably 20-30 minutes, and this thing will be completely cut out, and this will be one of 2 frame kits for that frame over there. So here's the whole kit right here. The cold rolled comes in 4x10, that's all they had, but you can see the end of the tables here. So this is a full 4x8 sheet right here. These are all the pieces. Not bad, I only had one fall in, which is not bad at all. That means I nested it properly. I'm gonna do another video of exactly where each individual piece goes. I know some people bought some frame kits from me before and they weren't quite sure where the pieces went or how they went on. So I'll do a separate video of that to show you guys. In the meantime, I'm gonna get all these pieces taken off and deburred and prepped, so you can see. I don't know if it's kind of hot a little bit, but I'll show you on the back side of some of them. There's a little bit of dross, nothing crazy. It comes right off with the wire wheel, so I'll get that taken off, prepped. Now that we got this off the table, now the fun part, I gotta load up this other 4x10 sheet. This stuff's pretty heavy, and I dread loading up a sheet every single time I do this. I need a better way. I know I could get a forklift, but I don't even know where I'm gonna put a forklift. You know, my shop's not even that big enough to have a forklift in here. So if you guys know any alternatives on how to load sheet metal on a plaza table, let me know, please. Both pieces of metal are cut out. It's time to start prepping them. And again, this is pickled and oiled steel, not cold rolled. I don't know if I said cold rolled earlier, but it's pickled and oiled. So this is what it looks like after you hit it with a DA. Super shiny, looks nice. There is a little bit of dross on there, a little bit more than normal. Not sure why, but the table cuts slightly different. I think I need to probably speed up the cut speed a little bit. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, that stuff will come off very easy with a knotted wire wheel. So I'm gonna get all this stuff prepped and cleaned. I'm not gonna hit them with the DA just yet. I'm gonna wait till they're actually on the frame so I can hit everything at once. But it should make for good welding. It really should. Now this is a Canadian kit. I do make the US kits as well. There's slight differences, like this piece is a little different. Pretty much just the dry shaft tunnel right there. That's really the major difference between the frames. That's major anyways. Everything else is the same. Cross member's the same, body mount same location. Everything's pretty much the same except for that. So I'm gonna go through, get all this stuff prepped, and then I will walk you through pretty much every single piece and tell you where they go. That way, if you are to buy a kit from me, you more or less kind of have a little bit of instructions on what the pieces are and where they go. So pretty much what I use, just one of these little wire wheels that go on a grinder. And if you do buy a kit from me, I do remove this dross before I give it to you. So all the prep work will pretty much be done already, ready for you to start clamping and welding on your frame. The only prep work you have to do is pretty much remove the skirts from here, and then you have to weld those 2 seams back together. There's some e-brake tabs right there. You have to cut those off. Same there. I believe that's e-brake tab. Up here, the shift linkage, that will need to be removed, as well as the skirts right here and the bump stops. And on my kit, I removed this lip right here. There's another little skirt lip, whatever you want to call it. So I go through and actually stitch weld this all back together so it's all one piece, and it looks really good once it's all said and done. But yeah, pretty much that's the only prep work you will have to do on my frame kits. Some of them, depending on what axle you're using, this will need to be removed. Also the shock mounts, those need to be removed. They can be welded back on afterwards, but just if you are going to put them back on, just mark where they go. That way you can put them exactly in the same place. This little brace bar that goes across, I guess this is the panhard bar. This is the panhard bar right here. So that's gonna need to get removed as well. And I believe that's it as far as prepping the frame. These get cut out as well, right there. You'll see on the piece once I lay it on for you. Alrighty, so I pretty much got everything kind of sort of prepped. They still need a little bit more prepping. I just kind of roughed them up real quick just to demonstrate where each piece goes for you guys. So I kind of got them laid out. This is just pretty much half of the frame. Still got to prep the other side over there. But anywho, so this is pretty much the kit, and I'm just going to start from front to back, kind of have them roughly laid out. So we'll go ahead and just start with the front. Actually, there's one more piece that I need to go grab. So you got this shaped piece right here, and that's going to go right here. If you're running a mechanical fuel pump, you're gonna have to notch this out right there. And then this is the bottom of the belly. These do cover the access holes right here. However, you can still get to the motor mount bolts through the spring pocket. I think it's just a cleaner look when those holes are covered. And then you got the top of the engine cradle right here. I'll leave this open for clearance. I know for like LS purposes and stuff, you need the extra clearance a little bit. So this part right here doesn't get plated. However, if you do want that piece, you can contact me, and I do have that piece. I can send it to you. Now this little weird strip thing right here, these Impala frames are notorious for ripping right here. They'll always tear right there. That's where the spring actually sits inside, so they always like to rip right there. So this little funky piece actually goes on like this. The fatter side, here, the fatter side goes right there. And then you can kind of tack it on and work it around. And then you have this piece, this shaped piece right here. So this one actually goes right there. And this is notched out for that hole right there, so you can access your A-arm bolts. And then of course, on the back of the cross member, you got a piece that's shaped like this. And that goes in right there. And then your other part right here, that's where that goes for their lower control arm. And then working around, there's one more piece that goes right here. It's over there, I just need to go grab it. But you can kind of see the shape of it. That goes right there. You have this triangle looking piece that goes right there. And then you got this piece. This piece is a little tricky to put on, trying to line up the holes. So what I usually do, I kind of line up one side and work my way around it. And another little triangle piece, this actually goes on the back side of it, right there. You have this little square washer looking thing that actually goes on the lower control arm right there. And this is the other side of the control arm part. You can see the control arm bolts right there. See those two holes, just line them up, and that gets bent around there. And then as well as the front part of it, you can kind of see that cups around right there. So that's bottom part right there. And then you got this shaped piece right here. So if you kind of look, this one kind of has like a little notch down right there. That's actually for this right here. This will get stitch welded together like I said. So before you put these pieces on, go ahead and stitch weld that up, smooth it out, kind of sand it down a little bit. And this will go right there. And this is the back side of the spring pocket. And if you look, this one kind of has like a straight edge right there. That's gonna go like roughly right here. So that's gonna go right there. And then working your way back to the body mounts, you got just a simple triangle. That goes in right there, slide it up towards your fitment's correct. Your upper body mount right there. This is your inner piece right here. Now this is different on the Canadians versus the US. The Canadians are a little bit more shallow from side to side. So this is a Canadian specific one right here. And that fits right there. And then you got the back of the body mount right here. This is what it looks like, kind of a little lightning bolt looking thing. That actually hooks on right there, like that, like so. And then the back side of the body mount is right here. And then this is the bottom of the front of the frame right here. And the piece after that will be this piece. Now I will say this piece and this piece looks very similar. However, the top is wider than the bottom. So continuing on, we got this piece that goes right here on the front and on the inside. You have a little notched area right there, and that's for that piece right there. So that actually fits in there really well and pretty snug once you get it bent. Just take this off before it falls. You have this little square shape that goes inside the transmission cross member, and you got this shape which goes on the transmission tunnel as well. Now I will say this piece and a piece back there look very similar. However, the one back there is a lot bigger than this one, so you'll know, you can fit it up. I mean, you see it fits pretty well right there. And then continuing on, you got this shaped piece right here that goes right there. All right, moving forward. That piece is gonna go right there. Following it, this piece is gonna go right there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the frame actually has like a little hump right there. It steps up, which is this piece right here. And then from there, this goes roughly about in the middle of the frame. And then you're gonna have this, it's just a rectangle piece that goes right there. This is the underside of the transmission cross member, or transmission tunnel, dry shaft tunnel. And then you got this little arch that's gonna butt up to it and get welded. And then this is notched out for the trailing arm mount right there. That's the bottom. You got the top of the cross member. I don't know why I keep calling it cross member. The tunnel, dry shaft tunnel. So it's two separate pieces on the Canadian. Now this is a major difference on the Canadian versus the US, as well as those pieces right here. Since the dry shaft tunnel is different, these four pieces right here are going to be different. So there's that one and the top one. And then you got on the inside, it's a similar shaped piece to this one, kind of, sort of, but this one's going to go on the inside like so. And then this is the only arched piece. This arched piece goes, that's kind of hard to pick up with one hand, but that's going to go like so. Continuing on to another rectangle looking shaped piece. This one kind of has a weird curve down, just because if you see right here, it looks like it curves down a little bit. So I guess the curved down part is going to go facing down on the frame. What else? Trailing arm. There's going to be 4 of these. They're the exact same. It goes right there, and on the bottom, both sides. You're going to have 2 of these. Now these only go on one way. Once you put it on, you can see how it kind of fits. If you try to turn it upside down, I mean, it kind of fits, but not really. So you'll know once you butt it up to it, it'll fit. And you weld it on, you just kind of roll it over and tack weld it, or you just kind of roll it over. And then, now this is an important part too. You got this piece right here. This piece needs to get put on before that little brace right there. So that's going to go in first, and then after you put this in first, you can weld this little like rectangle gusset tab thing right here. So after you get those 2 pieces put on, you have the rear spring pocket. Now this piece is kind of tricky. I start with the skirt. The skirt looks kind of funky the way it's shaped, and it is funky. This piece is kind of weird to put on. I always start, after you stitch weld that up, start on the rear, kind of weld it on, work your way around, and then you got this piece right here. I always line up the body mount first, and then make sure this is centered right there. This gets cut out and a 3-inch cup gets added right there. Continuing on, you got this shaped piece right here, which goes on the inside of the spring pocket. Actually goes the other way around, like so. And then this back piece right here. Now it's very important to note, this needs to be fully cut off before this piece will fit. So like I said, you can see my blue line right there. I still need to trim some more before that piece will fit. And then you have 4 of these. These are the same for the top and bottom. If you notice, there's a little kick out right here. Now this kick out is going to go to the outside of the frame on the top and bottom. They're the same, as well as these pieces right here. This very back piece, it's the same on the Canadians for both sides, top and bottom. So what I do is I pretty much just start by lining up the body mount bolt, or the body mount hole, and just lining it up to the sides. You get your rear body mount. Sometimes you have to trim this just very slightly, line that up, and then you have your, what I call just the skirt. Now the shape different. This shape right here gets put on the back side like so, and then you work your way around it. I always start, same with the spring pocket, I start on the back side of the frame. For whatever reason, it's a lot easier to bend and to get it to shape right. Now here's the other piece that I was saying kind of looks similar to the transmission mount over here. Similar shapes, very similar shapes. However, one's a lot bigger than the other. So you'll know once you get in there. But this goes in like so. You can see this one's bent out a little, or bent in a little bit, so I'm gonna have to tap that out. And you got pretty much your last piece right there. It's just a rectangle piece with a slant, and that goes up against the body mount right there. There's still a couple more pieces there in that pile over there. They're just not prepped yet. So this piece will look very identical to these pieces with the slant in, except it'll have a little notch out for the trailing arm right there. So just look for that notch and look for a straightened edge, kind of like that. So it's over there. And then also, depending on if you're doing wishbone or Y-bone, I have this piece as well. This one's pretty obvious on where it goes once it gets cut out. And I also like to mention, I do have convertible mounts. So if you want to change your hardtop frame into a convertible frame, meaning adding the mounts, there's an extra mount here and an extra mount here. If you look back at one of my other videos of the frame I just got done building, I got powder coated. That one did get the mounts added right there. So I might cut a couple extra out just so I can show you guys what the mounts look like. And again, this specific kit works on the Canadian frames. The easiest way to tell the Canadian frame versus the US frame, the rear section already boxed in. The US frames, they're C-channel, kind of like this. See how it's hollow right there? So that's one way you can tell. The other way you can tell is the dry shaft tunnel. The US frame has a lot more crazy curves and contours and stuff. The Canadian, it's pretty flat. Those are pretty much the two giveaways, the two quickest giveaways I can tell between a Canadian and US frame. Another way to tell is this seam right here. It's pretty flat. On the US frames, they're kind of overlapped. I don't know how to, they're kind of like, overlapped like this and then welded together. So that's another giveaway on the Canadian versus the US frame. I do have the US frames kits available as well. It's just I'm working on the Canadian, so I was showing the Canadian kits. Now, as far as the convertible frames, I have a convertible frame. It's at my storage. That I don't have a full wrap kit for a convertible. I personally don't think it's necessary, since the convertibles already have reinforcements along the tops, on the arches, and on the bottom as well. So on those, pretty much what I do is I get a kit like this, and I just do the insides and outsides, full cross member, and body mount, spring pockets, stuff like that. So I leave the tops and bottoms alone, since they already have factory reinforcements. I don't touch them at all. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick video, quick demonstration on where my SS Industries frame kit pieces go. Now, I know some other kits are going to be slightly different. More or less, they're going to be pretty much the same since these are the same frames. Also note, these are for 1961 to 1964 Impalas, the wagons, the sedans, they're all the same. They're all the same frames. So those are compatible with each other. You can grab a sedan frame or a wagon frame. As long as it's 1961 to 1964, you can use them. However, 1958, those only fit 58s. 59 and 60s, those are the same. However, they're not the same as 61 to 64s. They're slightly longer. A giveaway on a 59 and 60. Quickest way I could tell, body mount. This body mount, top of it is pretty flush with the top of the frame, and the transmission mount. See how this is, I mean, it's not quite flush, but there's just a little step down. It's probably like a, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch maybe step down. On the 59 to 60s, there's a dramatic step down. It's probably at least an inch or so between the top of the frame and the top of the transmission crossmember. So those are really the two dead giveaways on a 5960. Another thing I've noticed is 59 and 60 do not have the rear bumper mounts right there. That's just what I've noticed. I will say some early 61s, they'll have an inspection hole right there. I think on the 59s and 60s, I believe, also sometimes have an inspection hole right here. So that's the way you can tell if it's, you know, an earlier model frame. Two more things I'd like to add is I weld a bar across this back section to kind of replace the factory bar right there. You always want to mock up your axle first, and you can get it pretty much as close as you can to the axle. That way your gas tank still has clearance right there. And as far as the back bumper, I usually cut these out and weld in a 1 by 1.5 3/16 wall rectangle tubing right there. So after I get the frame wrapped, I'll weld the bar across here just to keep these two rails from collapsing in. Tack weld something there, you can cut that out, weld your bar in, and then you can cut that little brace out. So yeah guys, that's 1961, 1964 SS Industries reinforcement plate kit, whatever you want to call it. And it's not just for hydraulics. I know a lot of people have Impala drag cars or just want to stiffen up their chassis. So, and you can pick and choose. Just hit me up on Instagram or Facebook and send me a message telling me you're interested in a frame kit. These start out at $1,300 plus shipping, but I can cater it to you. So if you want just a outside partial wrap, I can do that. If you want an inside and outside partial wrap, which those I think are the best bang for the buck, you know, I'll sell you those. If you want a full kit, I can sell you that. If you want just the back half, I can sell you back half. So honestly, it just boils down to you. What do you want? And once you figure that out, you can hit me up and we can get this frame kit on its way to you. And I already know I'm gonna get this question, so I'll go ahead and answer it before you guys ask. Other chassis. So yes, I will have a 70 to 72 Monte Carlo, just a partial. I'm not going to do a full wrap kit because for one, it's my car, I don't need a full wrap kit, but I will sell the outers, you know, outers and inners and front cross member. I am working on a G-body frame kit right now. It's a lot of work. You know, I started out with paper templates, you know, and I have to make them all from scratch. So give me a little bit. I'll have a G-body one soon too, as well as the Monte Carlo one. I think I already have this one designed. I just have to cut it out and fit them all. So to answer that question, yes, I will have other frame kits available. Just give me a little bit, give me some time, and I will have other chassis as long as they're worth it for me. I know some people have some oddball lowriders, and that's dope for you building, you know, different lowriders than Impalas. However, it's a lot of work to build these kits. So if I'm only gonna sell one or two every now and then, I don't know, maybe we can work something out. But as of right now, Impalas, 70 to 72 Monte Carlos, G-bodies, and honestly, I'll probably do Cadillacs, like 84 Cadillac or something like that. I'll do those because personally I want to build one for myself. So a good chance I'll have the Cadillac reinforcement kits as well. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it on this video. If you have any questions, just hit me up on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. So thanks for watching. If you bought a kit, thank you. Anywho, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.